Hey, this is Michael Lindsay from Vital MX. We're down here at Foxhead's headquarters in Irvine, California. Just actually, luckily right around the corner from my office, makes this really nice and easy. I'm here again with Mark Finley, who's the Director of Communications, one of the guys that's been here with the brand for quite a while. You've been here?
Yeah, I've been here actually 20 years. So yeah, I started just past 20 years, started here in 97. So yeah, it's been a good ride.
So you've been here through a lot of product launches,
Yeah.
and this is a pretty neat one. You know, with Fox, everybody's always known Fox as a very premium gear brand, and you guys have moved beyond that from your helmets, then down to the boots, all the protection. And this is kind of one of those items that's, I want to say, capping things off a little bit for you guys to have a real head-to-toe premium line, your new View Goggle. I guess the easiest place to start with, I always like to know, is how long has this been in the works, and what made you guys, go, okay, we're going to go from what we already offered to a real premium product?
Yeah, as far as how long it's been in the works and our focus on hard goods, definitely, like you mentioned, people know us as a racewear brand. We've obviously made a lot of steps in the right direction with the Instinct boot and our V3 helmet from a premium helmet and boot perspective. We really wanted to focus on a goggle. Probably the end of 2016, we had an opportunity to come together with Ken Roczen and bring something together as far as collaborating with him to bring a premium goggle to market. So probably mid 2016, end of 2016 is when we really started to put this on the table and get it rolling.
So of course, kind of an interesting timing. You guys, last year, I'm trying to think how this works. So getting into more with your relationship with Ken is the whole lab kind of thing you guys have done with him. People have questioned, he's been in shift, now he's back to Fox. The reason behind that is he's technically what you guys call a lab athlete.
Right.
He wears whatever is, or works with whatever is your guys' premium product you're working at the time.
Right.
And this kind of falls into it. Being that he was hurt, majority of last year, was this around when you guys were still talking about bringing this out? I mean, it's so based around Ken. Was this, having to wait for him to get back on the bike and give the feedback? Was he that integral that you guys kind of had to put it on hold till he was riding again, or?
Absolutely, yeah. We had started the process, like I said, at the end of 2016, working on some prototypes with him and understanding what he liked and what he disliked with what he had been wearing. And we'd actually gone through 2 rounds of wearable prototypes with Kenny during that period, even rolling into the beginning of 2017 with A1. And obviously into San Diego as well. We did want to have this come out during the season, have Kenny put some time in it in prototypes during the Supercross season last year. As he got hurt, we definitely pulled back on this because we wanted to build something that was perfect for him. As he started riding again at the end of 2017, we were able to pick up the process again. And we had built 2 prototypes prior to him getting hurt. We had gotten feedback on what that 3rd round needed to be. So as he came back to riding after his injury, we were able to get that 3rd round on him and get kind of his validation, his confirmation we were going in the right direction. We had pretty much nailed everything. There were some foam package things that he wanted updated, but for the most part, we were really on our way towards the end of 17.
So kind of just a little bit of a detail on working with Ken so closely.
Yeah.
Of course, I always hear any brand say, hey, the reason we test so much with pros when we have the opportunity is they're harder on product than pretty much anybody else. The amount they ride, the amount of sweat, the amount of time they put on the bike. But something as precise as a goggle, Ken himself, his feedback, what makes him interesting compared to, I would say, any of the other athletes you guys have to work with on a product?
Yeah, Ken is very particular. I think most of those pro level guys are, but with the goggle in particular, he had a lot of things, or he had a few key things that he wanted us to solve for him. So he really pushed us, our design and development team, to another level. Like I said, as we built those first rounds of protos, there was definite feedback from him that we needed to improve the product. So with Kenny, I feel like him being very particular about what he wanted out of the goggle is different than maybe some of the other guys.
I was going to say, not to step on a previous product you guys have had or anything, but Kenny had been a head-to-toe Fox athlete at one point with eyewear, and he'd had moved away, and now he's back. So I'm guessing that like I said, if you guys were able to appease him, that must mean something, considering at one point he had the option to go away and he could add the option to come back or not. So I'm guessing that means the product's up to what he was looking for.
Absolutely. And that was obviously one of the keys of bringing this to life was, like I said earlier, making sure he was happy with the product. We felt like if we could make Kenny, if we get him where he was really happy with what we developed here, it would work for any pro level rider out there. Which with the View goggle for us, it is a pro level product. We still have our airspace goggle and our main goggle, so we do have 3 tiers of performance. But with our View goggle, the performance that we have here is definitely on the pro level side of construction and materials that we're using.
Let's pull it out of the box. Let's take a peek here.
Yeah, so I think I was telling you earlier, we just got our first shipment in, and
I feel like we're opening up an iPhone box here.
Yeah, very similar. Definitely a premium feel as you open up the box. But as you guys have probably seen, our first launch colorway is a colorway that Kenny was really behind as far as the look and the feel of the goggle. But you know, we always know we can make a product look amazing. For us, the first thing with him was function. So one of the main things that Kenny was really looking for out of the View goggle was a wide field of vision, basically making sure that the outrigger system is not in the field of vision at all when you have the goggle on. So for us, what that really meant was revisiting how close the frame is or how close the lens is to your face, and really pinching the goggle down on the edges here and getting all of this closer to the rider's face, again, to make sure there's no distraction with the outrigger system itself.
I think that's interesting because I know the first time I saw one of these, you know, you have this area of the outrigger here, I almost thought it was in the perspective, but it has a little bit to do with the color of the frame and the lens. It is the lens is actually ending here. This area is only really covering the area the lens needed to hold it to the frame and an edge of the frame. So this area here, once you actually look through, is definitely not inside the field of vision at all.
Yeah, you're not seeing that at all once you have it on. And the system, the outrigger system here, we're calling this True Lock, and this is actually how we're holding the lens on the goggle itself. So obviously field of vision, wide field of vision was the first thing we wanted to really accomplish for Kenny. The other thing that we wanted to do was we wanted to retain our injection molded polycarbonate lens. We feel like that's the best line of defense against roost. So we've done that with it's a 2 millimeter thick polycarbonate lens. It actually thins out a little bit on the edges to 1.5 mils. But knowing that we have that lens system, we also wanted to retain or create our own quick change system. So the way this works is the True Lock system actually just twists off the frame itself. So you're going to take off both sides of the True Lock system, and that's going to allow you to remove the lens itself. It's kind of cool. The entire strap itself actually comes off of the goggle. I'm sure as we move forward, we'll see people mixing strap colors. But once you have that off, then you're simply going to pull the lens off of the post here. And one thing that's interesting here, as you pull the lens off of the goggle, you've got 4 posts that it's actually attaching to, but it's also getting caught behind the nose guard on the goggle itself. That's important to really keep the lens in place, but it also gives us a nice area to capture our roll-off system. So there's a total vision package that's sold as an accessory that you can add a 45 millimeter roll-off to the View goggle as well. So that's important to the design there. And then as we pull this off, you're going to take off the lens from all 4 posts first. You're going to push this out, get it out from behind the nose area. So we'll get this guy removed. So once you've got the post removed on the sides, you'll get it lifted up out of the nose area, and then you're allowed to remove that lens. So I know changing lenses isn't something you're doing a lot, but we wanted to make sure this is really easy for the consumer. That's the injection molded polycarbonate lens. Again, great defense against roost. The one thing we wanted to do was make sure that the lens is actually sitting against the frame here. We're not sitting in a groove with this system. We're actually sitting against the frame, which is a nylon ABS outer material, the gray area that you're seeing. And as you look into the inside, the red material that you're seeing is a TPU, a softer material, and that's the faceplate area of the goggle itself. So we want that softer area to shape to any rider's face, but we want this outer rigid material to really hold the lens in place and not have any issues with roost knocking the lens free in the goggle.
Yeah, so basically your main area here gives the goggle its actual rigidity. There's no real flex give here, but so it still forms to your face. You have everything in here The flex, not to be too lame, but
yeah.
but up here it actually can conform to your face, to ridges and everything, while the entire goggle doesn't feel like butter in your hands and doesn't flex too much.
Exactly. By using two different materials here, we're able to achieve two things. Like you said, the great defend against the face, but also the rigidity, so we don't have the lens coming out.
While it doesn't have a groove, you guys have a rubber gasket around here to seal the entire lens in.
Exactly. So it sits right against that gasket. Obviously, we want to make sure there's no dust coming in the goggle. So the seal's really important. But also, now that we've moved the lens itself closer to the rider's face, we want to make sure we had plenty of ventilation in the goggle. So we literally got 360 degrees of ventilation around the entire frame of the goggle to make sure we're getting the right amount of airflow and we're not getting fogging. The lens is also treated with an anti-fog coating to make sure we don't have any fogging. The foam system itself is a 3-layer foam system, so you have a very thin fleece layer against the face, an open cell secondary material, and then the third layer of foam is a more closed cell, more of a dampening material. That's giving us a really custom fit for every rider out there. Again, all things that Kenny was really particular about. The foam itself, making sure we're using foam that's not building up with sweat. We're not having sweat bounce onto the lens of the goggle. Really important for him as he was testing the product. And like I said earlier, we feel like if we can build a product that's working for Ken, it's definitely going to work for all of our riders, our consumers out there.
Now, talking about the actual options available for this goggle, you said you guys have a roll-off system.
Yeah.
Lens-wise, clear, tint, what's available, overall accessories for the goggles?
Yeah, so this first colorway, the white one that we're looking at here, will come with a light gray tint. Again, what's funny, this is the exact tint that Ken prefers for outdoor. Obviously during Supercross, he's wearing a clear lens, but to your point, Michael, we have clear lenses available as accessories. We'll have Spark lenses as well, which are mirrored lenses, and your traditional tinted lenses as well, which you see here. We also have laminated tear-offs available, so you have stacks of 7. We'll actually sell, those are available now. The goggle itself will deliver with 5 non-laminated tear-offs. We know a lot of guys that ride practice days will run 1 or 2 tear-offs just to protect the lens while they're out on a practice day. So it will come with a 5 stack of non-laminated tear-offs in the box as well. This colorway is actually our initial launch colorway that you saw Kenny wear at Anaheim 1. You'll start to see some additional colorways coming out through the season. And then as we roll into our fall, our MX-19 line of product, you'll see a wide range of colors available.
So other cost-wise, where are we at with the goggle initially for this package?
Yeah, great question. This initial launch of the white colorway is going to be $119.
So speaking of the options outside of just the goggle and the lenses that are available, you mentioned the roll-off system, which you have a prototype here. What's going to be the availability on that, the pricing? What does that come with? So
we'll have Spark and non-Spark lenses available for the regular goggle. Spark lenses will be $44.95. As you look at just a clear or a tinted lens, they'll be $24.95. And then as you look into the roll-off system, it's our Total Vision package. That'll be $49.95 for a Total Vision package. That'll include a lens, obviously the canisters, 3 rolls of film, and you'll also receive the adhesive mud guards that'll go on here. So again, this is a proto of the roll-off system, but we'll be using a 45 millimeter thick film, so it's a really wide field of vision for a roll-off itself. The lines here across the lens keep the film from sticking to the lens as you get into mud and wet conditions. A big thing for us, we've been working with our riders in Europe to test this. One thing that we've really been working on is to really create a good squeegee system here that's not allowing all of the debris on the film itself to come into the canister. We realize a lot of times when you have a malfunction, it's the debris getting inside the canister, that dirty side of film expanding to where it will you no longer have the operation of the dirty side. So
it builds up the canister so much when you're pulling the cord, it basically eventually busts the mechanism or the casing itself when it expands.
Or the expansion of the film with the dirt on it is expanding so wide against the canister, the friction created there, it just stops working. So that's something we've been working on to get this right, and we feel like we're in a really good spot with the roll-off system. The roll-offs actually, we have limited quantities available now online, and then we'll have more volume as we roll through the season and bring in additional colorways of the goggle and things like that.
So, like I said, you have one right now. Can you give us do we have a rough timeline when we expect another color?
You know, throughout the Supercross season, you'll see some additional colorways coming. So look for those on Ken. Obviously, Dean Wilson will also, you'll start to see Dean in the View Goggle as well. But for us too, as the European series starts, the MXGP series, you'll see Tim Geiger and some of the other guys in Europe wearing the View Goggle as well. And then as we roll through the season, again, you're going to see some great additions through Supercross, through MXGP series. As we roll into our fall release, which for us is August 1st, we'll release that MX-19 line. You'll see a wider range of goggles, colorways available for that full season.